The Greek Prime Minister has called for bold initiatives to reinvigorate his country's economy as EU leaders gather for a summit in Brussels. Alexis Tsipras is due to hold crucial talks on the sidelines of the summit later with the leaders of Germany, France, and the EU institutions. EU leaders are also due to discuss energy security and relations with Russia amid the crisis in Ukraine. Ukraine's PM has urged the EU to stand firm on sanctions against Moscow. Arseniy Yatsenyuk told the BBC that Russia should pay the price for its actions, and suggested that any attempt to lift EU sanctions for financial reasons would be disgusting and unacceptable. The summit is expected to declare that the sanctions should be kept in place until the peace deal agreed in Minsk in February is implemented in full. Move towards growth. The dispute between Greece and its international creditors is not on the formal agenda of the summit. However, correspondents say the meeting is likely to be dominated by the issue. The European Union needs bold political initiatives that respect both democracy and the treaties, so as to leave behind the crisis and to move towards growth, Mr. Tsipras, Greece's new leftist leader, said as he arrived on Thursday. He is trying to persuade EU leaders that proposed reforms are enough to unlock vital funds, needed to avoid possible bankruptcy and a Eurozone exit. International creditors say they are ready to extend help on Greece's Euro 240 BN, Pound 176 BN, Dollar 272 BN, bailout until the end of June. But Mr. Tsipras's plans have met resistance from EU leaders, with Germany among the most critical. European Council President Donald Tusk is to hold a meeting on the issue late on Thursday evening with the leaders of Greece, Germany, France, the European Commission and the European Central Bank, ECB, as well as the chairman of Eurozone finance ministers. But German Chancellor Angela Merkel told reporters when she arrived at the summit that a breakthrough was unlikely. "Don't expect a solution," she said. "Decisions are made in the Eurogroup and that's how it will remain." Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister David Cameron told reporters Britain and Greece were virtually in the same boat when he came to power in 2010. However, he said that his government's budget, announced on Wednesday, showed the UK economy was now growing. Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel condemned the decision to discuss Greece's debts without input from Belgium and other smaller members of the bloc. Playing tricks. Among the issues on the official agenda of the two-day summit is Europe's dependence on Russian natural gas, and the conflict in Ukraine. In a BBC interview ahead of the meeting, PM Yatsenyuk welcomed the deployment of British military trainers in Ukraine, but said his country needed more help to defend itself against Russian aggression. He said Russia's President Vladimir Putin was playing tricks with EU leaders, and said they should stand firm against him. Ukraine and the West accuse Russia of helping separatists in Ukraine's east with weapons and soldiers, a claim Moscow denies. At least 6,000 people are believed to have been killed and more than 1 million have fled their homes since conflict erupted last April in the regions of Donetsk and Luhansk. The head of the European Commission is expected to use the summit in Brussels to push for EU sanctions against Russia to be maintained until the end of the year. At that point, Ukraine is supposed to regain control of its eastern border from pro-Russian rebels under the Minsk ceasefire conditions.